Are you a DILF and/or MILF enjoyer? Loitering around the retirement home looking for your next glass of refined old wine that are our senior citizens? Well, my freaky friend, I'm Saba Black Sheep. Have you any soul? No sir, no sir. But for some reason I have enough time today to talk about the nuances of age-gapped relationships and how the internet mishandles those. We humans are an incredibly socially multifaceted species. No one relationship, be it familial, platonic, or romantic, is truly ever the same, which can make it incredibly hard to judge our interactions at times. In more recent years, with the commodification of grooming and abusive relationships becoming a form of sick entertainment due to our morbid curiosity, I believe the internet's culture at wide has lost the ability to judge human relationships in the real world. At least aspects, not a full sweeping statement. This has come with some good aspects, but also some detrimental downsides. Many people's well-being, sense of self, has been affected, as well as creating a very confined morality. Let's first give spotlight to how I believe anti-age gap couple culture really started on the internet. With drama content. You as past are seeing countless videos of people talking about P3dos and victims of them and grooming. Many of our favorite creators were called out in videos like these for their vile behavior rightfully. In truth, videos on Onision's fall from grace, Miranda Sings' weird-ass ukulele apology, Boy in the Band and whatever was happening there, Shane Dawson, and countless others. Those aren't even the worst of the offenders at times, not to undermine their repugnant behavior. Most of these videos tend to be about creators' behavior around teenagers and taking advantage of their audience. I believe these videos are important because they educate people and take down platforms of people that clearly do not deserve them. But I also think the normalization of this expectation that there's a lot of awful people on our platforms has started to create a lack of social literacy a lot of the times in day-to-day life. We've gotten so used to cancellations that honestly I feel like we're looking for them half the time. I think the culture on the internet has overstepped and over-exaggerated because we've gotten so used to the vile behavior of so many creators. You'll have situations like a 19-year-old dating a 17-year-old, and then you have a bunch of chronically online people calling the 17-year-old a P3do. In my opinion, that spits in the face of every person that has ever been a victim of a P3do. Relationships, a lot of the times, are situational and not black and white. There are some 19 and 17-year-old couples that could easily be toxic. A very independent 19-year-old dating a very dependent 17-year-old can easily become abusive. But what about a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old that went to the same school, worked together, and are in very similar stages in their life and are trying to build a family together? That's not morally abhorrent and is pretty normal for many people's experiences. Sweeping moral statements can be made about relationships justly, but that isn't applicable to every relationship. There are many relationships that are meant to be seen with a more nuanced eye and need to be viewed that way because it's not black and white. Now let's examine some examples of policing within media. Pema and Tenzin from the Legend of Korra. Legend of Korra takes place in the same universe as Avatar: The Last Airbender, following Korra, the Avatar after Aang. Korra's airbending teacher is Tenzin, the son of Avatar Aang. In Book 1 or Season 1, Tenzin is 51 and his wife is 35. They are shown to be a happy family with 4 airbending kids. Tenzin clearly cares for his wife and kids a lot, and vice versa. So where's the issue? Well, some are arguing Pema was groomed because Tenzin was her teacher in the way of the air nomads. Pema was becoming an air acolyte, so think of it like having a crush on your yoga teacher. Now, Pema was between 18 and 24 when she met Tenzin, where he was between 34 and 40. Now, if we go on the extreme low end, dating an 18-year-old when you're in your 30s is kind of weird and really should be questioned. Because a lot of 18-year-olds are quite literally still in high school, and high schoolers are off limits. No high schoolers. Absolutely none. I'm sorry. But that's the extreme low end. She was more likely to be in her 20s, which is fine. For the love of God, stop infantilizing grown women. We can make our own judgments and decisions. They are both consenting adults and had their first kid when she was 25 and he was 41. One of the big factors with anti-age gap people is how they treat young women. It is beyond insulting to be told my opinion and feelings don't matter because I'm too young. I once saw a post saying, nuance is dead. If you're above 20, don't ever date teens. It's weird. Which I would agree with the exception of 18 and 19-year-olds being able to date people in their 20s. Because they are consenting adults and can make that decision for themselves. At the time of seeing that, I was 19 and commented my disagreement respectfully. Multiple people told me I was too young to know, too inexperienced to make a good judgment, that my opinion was invalid because I was just a child still needing mommy's help. I lived on the other side of the world from my family, alone, not in school, paying my own bills, making my own money, and functioning, well, completely independent in a country I didn't even know the language of, because I felt like it. Being told by a stranger I'm dependent and helpless and need someone else to tell me what to feel, while I was living alone and am a completely functional, independent adult, was annoying. I'm not saying there isn't issues with age gap relationships. There can be. One of the most common issues is the older partner can't compete in their own age group, so they find a younger person who will outgrow them eventually. These relationships are toxic and regularly abusive. So when in an age gap relationship, be cognizant of those issues that may present themselves. If your partner doesn't treat you as an equal or doesn't want to look at the issues that may arise in a relationship like that, then you're dating a piss baby. Rule number 1, don't date piss babies. Mind you, I've never had a relationship. I'm ace arrow, so naturally I don't understand attraction on a personal level to be able to give you a personal anecdote how to approach that stuff. What I can say is please have self-respect. You deserve better than to have some random old man yap at you constantly, or old woman. Before I came to the ace arrow revelation, I went on a date with a 33-year-old man when I was 19. He was some sort of business dude from Dubai. I told him up front before I even met him that the age difference could easily pose issues, and we need to be aware of that, and I have to be friends with people way before I find them even remotely attractive. So it was up to him if he still found it worth his time. He said he did. But then he went on to say, "Oh, you're just so mature for your age." And I, of course, replied, "Of course, some aspects of me are like that, but I'm still bound to my age and will always have aspects of me that are reflective of being that young. So even if I seem, quote-unquote, different, we can't ignore my age." He proceeded to comment on my bra, pinch my cheeks like I was an 8-year-old, then got angry at the restaurant staff for not letting us sit at a giant fucking table. I told him I wouldn't see him again. And he was like, "No, we can still be friends." And I, of course, respond, "I'm sorry, I wish you the best, but I don't like how you treat people." Then we never spoke again. On the bright side, he did take that very well. And when I say very well, I mean just did the bare minimum of not insulting me. He also mentioned how he never had a relationship longer than 7 months at the age of 33. And I thought, that's kind of a red flag. He can't maintain relationships. That's how you spot a piss baby. Please, if you're younger dating older people, keep your eye out for piss babies. This goes for men and women. Another example of a healthy age gap relationship, though, that has been debated on Twitter as of recently is Cinnamon Toast Ken and his wife, Mary. Well-known YouTuber Cinnamon Toast Ken, once famed for his gaming and showing up on PewDiePie's channel quite often back in the day, I mean, they still make videos together sometimes. But now known for his chilled, laid-back reaction videos with his buddy Buff Pro. His content tends to be wholesome, less for the content they're reviewing and more just the fun environment the two make. I enjoy sitting back, drawing, and listening to these two lads commit laddery. So what's the issue Twitter pulled themselves up by their thigh-high socks to bitch about today? Well, Ken's wife, Mary, is 30, and Ken is 38. They met when she was 19. A consenting adult. And they never hid their relationship from the public because she was a consenting adult. And they're still happily married with children today. Passing judgment on a perfectly happy and healthy couple, from what we can see as viewers, is rude. If Mary ever wants to come forward with anything that she may have been hurt by Ken before, she has room. There's clearly room on the internet. Want to hear that type of stuff out. I want to hear that type of stuff out. Not saying that it's easy to come forward from an abusive relationship. It can be very hard. But just assuming people's relationship is none of your fucking business, just because they're a content creator doesn't mean they owe you a view into every aspect of their life. Yes, there are some 19 and 28-year couples that could easily be toxic, but just because that applies to some doesn't mean it applies to all. Conclusion, infantilizing grown-ass women is weird. We haven't even touched on how rashly calling men perverts can affect their mental health. Please, call actual perverts perverts. That behavior needs to be called out. But a man dating a consenting adult doesn't mean he's sapped of his worth. And if in the confines of his own mind he looks at a younger woman and thinks she's more attractive than other women my age, he does not verbalize it. He does not put down or devalue women his age directly. I think all of my peers are violently unattractive. I don't devalue them. I don't see them lesser. I just don't want to boink their doink. Teaching men that their sexual expression is innately gross and deprived? Telling men that all they want from a partner they genuinely care about and love is sex is awful for their mental health. You wouldn't want to be told that. You wouldn't want to look at your partner you care a lot about and be told, oh, you're just using them. That feels awful. Especially when you know you're not, when you know you love them and you don't want to hurt them. You start to convince yourself, I'm hurting them, I need to leave. But they can, I'm not saying it can't happen. This doesn't change the fact many men genuinely do only look for women that are younger than them due to their naivety and ability to manipulate them, and looks down on women their age, thinking that they're not attractive enough so they don't have value. That is a huge issue many men have, and it's disgusting. Our older women in our culture need to be treated with a lot more respect than we're actually giving them. Being told your whole life that the only thing you're good for is being youthful, is being attractive, and then society just rejecting you because you're no longer that, that's horrible. I can't imagine the stress many women go through when they're treated that way as they get older. That's not okay. We shouldn't let anyone treat someone so thoughtlessly, and that goes for everyone involved. Don't tell all young women the only thing men want from them is their bodies. Don't tell all men their romantic desire is innately deprived and ruins women. And don't tell older women that they're worthless because they're used up and no longer attractive. The first two can happen and needs to be handled with care. The latter, no ifs, ands, or buts. Older women are beautiful. Same with older men. Stop telling my fellow precious humans that they aren't gorgeous. I'll fight you. Okay, sorry, I'm done yapping. You have school tomorrow, or work, or projecting your weird-ass kink on your audience. But as always, don't dream about wheat byproducts.